Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline for Pixie Dust PhD. When deciding to buy Disney Vacation Club, I previously mentioned that you may want to take availability into account. That is, that some rooms are in pretty high demand and may be more difficult to book. In today's video, we're going to do a deeper dive into the Disney Vacation Club inventory. Before we get started, I want to reiterate that personally, I fundamentally believe that you should buy Disney Vacation Club for the home resort where you want to stay the most. While calculations for the costs and the number of points that you require are of course important, at the end of the day, this is a very large purchase and I don't want you to have any regrets. For example, I wouldn't want to personally buy at Saratoga Springs to save some money if what I really wanted to do was stay at the beach club. Then every vacation while staying at Saratoga Springs, even though it will still be a wonderful Disney vacation, there would be a small pang in my heart yearning for beach club instead. So everyone has different philosophies, but I'm just putting mine out there again that I think you should buy at the place you want to stay the most. That being said, of course, I understand that finances play a role. And overall room availability at Disney Vacation Club, of course, plays a role into the number of points that you need, which will translate into your finances. So let's do a brief overview of Disney Vacation Club room inventory by the size of the villa. First, there's some terminology to know, because what would Disney Vacation Club be if there wasn't some jargon? Rooms come in two types, dedicated or lock-off. You'll often see this talked about for 2-bedroom sizes, but it has some downstream effects for studios and 1-bedrooms. Simply put, a 2-bedroom lock-off is a 1-bedroom and a studio adjoined. In a 2-bedroom lock-off, both that 1-bedroom side and the studio side will have their own entrance into the hallway. In contrast, a dedicated 2-bedroom will only have a single entrance into the hallway. And if a lock-off 2-bedroom is instead split up and booked separately as a 1-bedroom and a studio, these are still referred to as lock-offs, not dedicateds, because there is that door on the inside for potential adjoining. Of course, in this case, you would just leave it locked. Other than jargon, there are a few practical implications of this. If you're staying in a lock-off 2-bedroom instead of a dedicated 2-bedroom, that studio side will come as a studio, so it will have your kitchenette and then also a pull-out couch. Depending on your travel party, you might prefer this. Having that extra couch could be very nice to have a space to just hang out. On the other hand, in a dedicated 2-bedroom, that second room will typically come with 2 queen beds instead of the queen bed in a studio and a couch and a kitchenette. So depending on your travel party, you may prefer that instead, where you have those 2 dedicated beds for sleeping instead of a bed and a pull-out couch. And families with younger kids may prefer the dedicated instead of the lock-off, simply because there's only one entrance into the room, meaning also there's only one exit out into the hallway, instead of having to keep track of those 2 doors that go into the hallway. Overall, a lock-off room is just a Disney Vacation Club term for adjoining rooms. This does create some interesting math in terms of a lock-off premium. What I mean by a lock-off premium is essentially booking a 2-bedroom lock-off will be less points than if you were to book a 1-bedroom lock-off and a studio lock-off separately. I'm not going to cover lock-off premiums in depth in this video, but if that's something you would be interested in, leave a comment down below. Now that we've covered lock-off terminology, let's move on to Disney Vacation Club inventory. For brevity, for this video, I'll only be covering the Disney Vacation Club resorts at Walt Disney World. However, I'll leave links below in the description for you to peruse other resorts. Additionally, I won't be breaking these numbers down by view type, and note that the different views cost the different amount of points per night, but you can look for those details in the links in the description below. Let's start with studio-size villas. For the most part, these sleep up to 5 people. At Animal Kingdom, with Jambo House and Kidani Village combined, there are 46 dedicated studios and 250 lock-off studios. The Beach Club has 36 dedicated studios and 74 lock-off studios. Bay Lake Tower has no dedicated studios. All 133 are lock-offs. And note that about 2/3 of those are a lake view, not a standard view, and will cost you more points per night. As I mentioned in a previous video, standard views at Bay Lake Tower are coveted rooms. The Boardwalk has 97 dedicated studios and 149 lock-offs. Boulder Ridge at Wilderness Lodge has 20 dedicated studios and 45 lock-offs. Copper Creek has 42 dedicated studios and 36 lock-offs. Old Key West does not have any dedicated studios. All 230 of them are lock-offs. Additionally, I believe Old Key West are the only studios that are guaranteed to come with 2 queen beds. The vast majority of the other deluxe studios contain a queen bed and then a pull-out couch. The Poly has no lock-off studios. They are all dedicated studios, and there are 360 in total. This sounds like a ton of dedicated studios, but note that the Poly is a bit strange in that there are no 1 or 2 bedrooms. Options at the Poly are those studios or bungalows, which cost a boatload of points per night, and so competition for those studios, even though there seems like there are a lot, is still quite stiff. The Riviera Resort has 148 lock-offs and 62 dedicated studios. Note that this does combine their tower studios and their standard studios, which are called deluxe studios in DVC terms. Tower studios only sleep up to 2 people as opposed to a deluxe studio sleeps up to 5. Saratoga Springs only has lock-off studios and there are 432 in total. And the Grand Floridian also only has lock-offs and there are 47. For 1-bedrooms at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, combined Kidani and Jumbo House, there are 250 and these are all lock-offs. The Beach Club has 20 dedicated 1-bedrooms and 74 lock-offs. Bay Lake Tower has only lock-off 1-bedrooms and there are 133. The Boardwalk has 130 dedicated 1-bedrooms and 149 lock-offs. Boulder Ridge has 27 dedicated and 45 lock-off 1-bedrooms. Copper Creek has 20 dedicated 1-bedrooms and 36 lock-offs. The Riviera has 29 dedicated 1-bedrooms and 148 lock-offs. Saratoga Springs only has lock-offs and there are 432 in total. And the Grand Floridian has 47 lock-off 1-bedrooms and no dedicated. And as I mentioned in the studio section, note that the Polynesian doesn't have any 1-bedrooms available. Now, many of these numbers may sound familiar to you. The lock-off numbers I just listed for 1-bedrooms match the lock-off numbers I listed earlier for the studios. It makes sense that these are 1-to-1, that way they can easily be booked as a 2-bedroom lock-off if needed. Rather than list these numbers for a third time, just note that the number of lock-off 2-bedrooms is the same for every resort as the number of lock-offs listed for 1-bedrooms and studios. For example, the Grand Floridian has 47 lock-off studios and 47 lock-off 1-bedrooms. That means there are 47 lock-off 2-bedrooms. This logic applies to all of the resorts, so let's go ahead and move on to dedicated 2-bedrooms. Animal Kingdom Lodge, with Jumbo House and Kidani Village combined, has a total of 140 dedicated 2-bedrooms. The Beach Club has 78. Bay Lake Tower has 148. Boulder Ridge has 44. Copper Creek has 56. Old Key West has 274. The Riviera Resort has 90. Saratoga Springs has 360. And the Grand Floridian has 47. Notably absent, meaning there are no dedicated 2-bedrooms, are the Boardwalk and the Poly. So very broadly speaking, and this is likely an overall generalization, but when you combine the number of dedicated 2-bedrooms and potential lock-off 2-bedrooms, there tends to be quite a large inventory available. This means that usually booking a 2-bedroom won't be too much of a challenge. That being said, a 2-bedroom is of course a boatload of points per night, and that may be something you want to avoid if you have a smaller travel party. Next we have those 3-bedroom grand villas. All 3-bedroom grand villas are dedicated, there are no lock-offs here. However, the inventory overall for grand villas is pretty low, which explains why it can be pretty challenging to book these accommodations. At Animal Kingdom Lodge, there are 22 grand villas. Bay Lake Tower has 14. The Boardwalk has only 7, and Copper Creek has only 4. Old Key West has 27 grand villas. The Riviera Resort has 12. Saratoga Springs has 36, and the Grand Floridian has 6 total. So note from that list that not every resort even has an option for a grand villa. If you have a larger travel party and you want to stay all in the same room, you'll want to look at this list for your home resort. And last, there are a few other room types. Copper Creek offers cabins that are around 1,200 square feet and sleep up to 8 people. There are 26 of these in total. The Polynesian, as I mentioned before, has bungalows, and there are 20 of these in total. These are around 1,000 square feet and sleep up to 8 people. And Saratoga Springs has 60 treehouse villages that sleep up to 9 people. So that's a breakdown of the DVC inventory by room type. Now, if you want a sense of inventory overall at a given resort, that math gets a little tiny bit complicated. For example, I noted earlier that Bay Lake Tower has 133 lock-off studios, 133 lock-off 1-bedrooms, and 133 lock-off 2-bedrooms, in addition to the other room types. Due to the nature of these lock-off rooms, you can't simply add up all of the possibilities to come to your total. For Bay Lake Tower, that would be 133 for the studios, 1-bedrooms, and 2-bedrooms that are lock-off type, and then add in those 148 dedicated 2-bedrooms and those 14 grand villas. This comes to 561 rooms. But essentially that math doesn't add up. Those 133 lock-off 2-bedrooms overlap with the 133 lock-off studios and 1-bedrooms. So at any given time, 2 parties can separately occupy a lock-off studio and a lock-off bedroom, or 1 party can occupy a lock-off 2-bedroom. You simply won't be able to have all 3 of those booked at the same time because the space physically overlaps. If you imagine all of the lock-off studios and all of the lock-off 1-bedrooms being booked at the same time, that would mean 0 of the lock-off 2-bedrooms could be booked. That would bring the total inventory for Bay Lake Tower to 428 rooms. Instead, if you imagine the other extreme, where all lock-off 2-bedrooms are booked, meaning there are no lock-off studios and no lock-off 1-bedrooms occupied, that brings the total inventory down to 295 rooms at Bay Lake Tower. So because of this overlap, every resort that has lockoffs will have a total range for their inventory. The range for the total inventory at Animal Kingdom Lodge is 458 to 708 rooms. At Beach Club, it's 208 to 282 rooms. At Bay Lake Tower, as we just mentioned, it's 295 to 428 rooms. The Boardwalk has between 383 and 532 rooms available at any time. Boulder Ridge has only 136 to 180 rooms available in their inventory. Copper Creek offers 184 to 220 rooms. Old Key West can have anywhere from 531 to 761 rooms. The Polynesian doesn't have lockoffs, so it really is just a number, not a range. This is 380 rooms. That's those 360 studios plus those 20 bungalows combined. There's no overlap in those physical spaces, so nothing to worry math-wise about there. The Riviera will be between 341 and 489 rooms in their inventory. Saratoga Springs has on the low end 888 and on the high end 1,320 rooms available. And the Grand Floridian has between 100 and 147 rooms in their inventory. The ranges I've listed go from the absolute minimum amount of rooms in inventory to the absolute maximum. The reality, of course, is that on any given day, the number of rooms booked and being used will be somewhere in between that. Ultimately, is this knowledge of the potential inventory at any given DVC resort going to influence your decision to purchase DVC or where your home resort will be? Probably not. But I do think it's enlightening to learn about the total inventory in a given resort. For example, the maximum number of rooms at the Grand Floridian at any given time is 147, which really isn't very many. This starts to explain why it's pretty dang hard to book the Grand Floridian if you don't have that home resort priority. And so back to as I was saying earlier, if you are dead set on staying at the Grand Floridian, if that's what your heart really wants, given that small inventory, I would highly suggest you make that your home resort. For those of you who feel empowered with more information, like myself, I hope you found this information helpful. I will note, though, that I was not able to easily locate these numbers on the Disney Vacation Club official website, disneyvacationclub.com. I sourced these numbers from other sites, which I will link to below in the description. Because these numbers are not from Disney Vacation Club directly, I cannot guarantee they are 100% accurate. And there even exists some discrepancies in the links I'm posting below. That being said, those discrepancies are fairly small, on the order of 10 or so rooms, and so they really won't make a difference in your overall picture of resorts. So even if this information is a little bit off, I do think it will give you an overall sense of the DVC inventory. This may be useful when considering how many points you're going to buy and or your home resort. If you found this information useful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell icon for notifications whenever I post new videos. If you're a subscriber and a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new and you liked this video, I hope you consider subscribing. My goal is to hit 100 subscribers, so any and all interactions with this video help me get noticed by the YouTube algorithm, and I really appreciate it. You can find me on other platforms like Twitter and Instagram at PixieDustPhD. Does the inventory for a given villa size or at the resort overall sway your decision about buying DVC in general, or where your home resort might be, or how many points you might buy? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time at Pixie Dust PhD.